Oh no, my camera. Let's fix this.
Oh.
Uh-oh. The camera. Got to get up and check the camera. Is my "May the Courts Be With You" shirt too close to the camera?
No, it's perfect.
An extra shirt plug there.
Up close and personal.
Yeah.
Thanks for understanding that this gig is hard to do anything outside of what I do, just because we have so many matches going on and off and interviews, and it's a great gig. It's just there are two friends of mine that were at the tennis today, and I couldn't even get out to say hello, and
I'm sure
it just gets crazy.
Yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to hear about is what it's like to be you during Wimbledon, because the original plan was also for you to be coaching at the same time, right?
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, horrible coaching. My player lost in the last round of qualies to a player that she beat the week before like a drum.
Mm-hmm.
But, that's what coaches do. They screw up. They get fired. They get scolded. You got to come up with better game plans, man. Better game plans.
Is that what it was? Was it a game plan problem?
It's the coach always has to take the hit. Game plan problem. Always a game plan problem. Players are never wrong. Players win. Coaches lose. It was just a $100,000 miss. But outside of that, not worried. Right. And that was to play a lucky loser to play another qualifier today.
Oh yeah.
So not a big deal at all.
I forgot one thing. Yeah, that's I saw the draw there too, and I'm thinking, oh, that was a missed opportunity. Right?
It would have been unbelievable. And then And
so
thinking last year, I'm sorry.
Yeah, how does that work? So like I see, is it Darren Cahill does a lot of that where he's commentating and coaching at the same time.
Yeah.
How do you balance that?
They're super cool with that. So remember when you stop playing, you lose a lot of access. So when you're playing, I started in '94 with ESPN, and I had a lot of access because I'm in the locker room with everybody. Mm-hmm. And it's Sampras and it's Chang and it's Courier, Agassi, everybody. I'm flying, in Agassi's private jet, and we're doing Davis Cup stuff. I mean, you can't get more locked in than a fellow player. And then once you retire, you can hang in there for a bit because you have access to all those guys because you played those guys. And then what happens is you get into that next phase where all the guys you played are now retired. And then you get into what I call the Roger Federer phase, which is he was our ball kid when we played. So you get access that way because he remembers you and everything. Well, everybody that remembered us when they were playing are now retired like Roger Federer. Yeah. And then you got to go to the coaches who are now coaching those guys and girls that you played against and stuff like that. So you get certain access. But as soon as you start coaching, you're back in those players' lounges. You're back on those practice courts, in those locker rooms. You're in the know every single week. So they highly encourage, like Pam Shriver's working with Vekic. Vekic beat Sloane Stephens today. Cahill's out there. So they honestly, they don't frown upon it at all. They make it work. So last year when we were in the main draw at Wimbledon, Coco would, for the times that she had her practices, so a lot of it depends on the schedule. And ESPN knows, like, listen, if your player wants to practice, we're going to work around that. So even though she was a lucky loser waiting to try to get in, the sweet spot for me is I'll get there around 8 o'clock in the morning and start doing all research, talking to coaches, talking to agents, talking to players. And you're just watching everything you can to take in injuries, if someone's jacked up, any news, notes, any nuggets that can't be found by the normal ways of press conferences and things. And then you start going on the air We have our first meeting at 9:15, 9:30, and that's all hands on deck. That's Johnny Mack, Chris Everett. That's everybody. Is what we did yesterday and what we can do to improve, any stories, anything come up in our research over the last 24 hours that sets us up for today. And that goes to about 10. And then we all break off to our assigned positions. And for me, it's in a studio and with this guy, Sam Gore. And we've been working together for years now. And we just start cranking out, these are the matches that you're going to see today, and talk about them and stuff. And then once that finishes, we start getting into bringing in Chris Everett, John McEnroe, Renee Stubbs, and talk about topics, who's playing today, what's up. A big one, we have so many Americans in it. We had 19 American women, 14 American men in the top in the main draw. And that's just singles. That wasn't even all the doubles players and stuff. So who's playing? Ben Shelton was obviously a big hot topic. He went down today, unfortunately. But then we start hitting the matches and then talking about, especially during rain delays and everything, the hot topics, bringing in players for interviews, bringing in coaches. So we're pretty active. And then I just thought you and I were going to be able to kick off, in that sweet spot when we're kind of done, but it didn't happen. We had so many storylines and stuff, and it's a glorious job. You'd love it. It's the coolest gig to do because you're at the best tournament in the world, the most historic tournament in the world. People want to talk about it, and it's super cool.
Well, that's why I thought it'd be fun to bring it home a little bit, to bring it back to Atlanta, to kind of know what that looks like. Because we get to see you on ESPN in studio, but we just get to see that 20 minutes that's really cool. Not all the preparation, everything that goes into that from the 8 a.m. And Jovi looked at me, she's like, well, it's only 9 o'clock there. It's not that bad. I said, but I don't know what time he started. Like, if he's a guy that is similar to how he grew up, he knows he's only as good as how much work he's putting into it. I'm guessing he's one of those first guys through the door.
Yeah. You understand that this crew that we have at ESPN is so first class. And I wish. Did I lose you?
No, you're good. I can hear you. Just trying to get the video back. Now I can see you, but I can't hear you.
It's not just the announcers. It truly is. He's driving the ship. He's the head of ESPN. Gross, who's on top of the cam. And these, oh no. Let's see if there's any. Do you want me to sketchy? Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, give me a second. Let me see if I can clean something up here. There and there.
Vin. It's a classy joint. Let's see here.
Yeah, that's the other problem. We try to fix stuff, but then we don't actually keep talking, so we don't know if we can hear it.
Yeah. How's that? Is that better at all?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah,
sorry about that.
So, yeah, it really is an awesome opportunity to work with awesome people. And it's, to be honest, like research, poor guy who's in the room underneath me, because we get up super early. He doesn't get back till like 1 o'clock in the morning, and he does all the research. So until Andy Murray is done on center court and all the press conferences, he's got to compile all that stuff, and we get a packet. Let me see if I can find it. So this was just yesterday's stuff.
Nice.
That comes. I mean, it's loaded with every nugget, first serve percentage, schedule possibility, singles, doubles, mixed, juniors qualifying started at Roehampton today. A lot of college coaches are over there recruiting the next superstar for their team. Mm-hmm. So it really is, they give you every opportunity to succeed. So my job specifically is to know my stuff, but how can I separate myself from everybody? And that's digging into notes that nobody else would kind of see or know. And it's beyond the notes, to be perfectly honest. It's having the relationships with the coaches. And that's been huge coaching Coco Vanderway, because I know last week's tournament and what happened in Berlin, what happened at Paris, and watching it firsthand from the practice courts on down. And then you have like the Chris Eubanks. He's playing tomorrow against Cam Norrie on court 1. I mean, Chris didn't even know where to go for practice. He played qualies last year, but he'd never been at the Big W. So he really didn't know, and he needed like some help, like pointed, that's where practice is, that's where the locker room is. Total rookie. And because, he played for my World Team Tennis team in 2021, and I've known him because Georgia Tech, he's from Atlanta. I'm an Atlanta guy. So that is a huge nugget for me that other people wouldn't know. So he's going to walk on the court tomorrow, and I'm going to have an edge up on all the other analysts and things like that. So that's what they want. ESPN wants that access and that kind of intel. And that's right up my alley. I love finding a nugget that nobody else would have. And they encourage it, which is great.
Yeah, I would think so. And that's why the interesting question of how do you balance that? I can only guess ESPN would want the most up-to-date, in the know people to be part of that.
Yep.
But that also means you're going to be coaching. Coaching, you get that. Yeah,
and of course, you got to be winning for your player, and they got to be winning and staying relevant. I mean, you look at like Darren Cahill, he's coaching Sinner, a top 10 player, a possible, like a favorite to win here. That is massive, because I mean, I'm coaching a qualifier. He's coaching a player who's playing on center court Wimbledon. I mean, when they start having matches, he can talk, there's a little dip over here, or the court's playing slower, or they were honestly out there hitting with Djokovic on, I think it was Friday or Saturday before the tournament started. That's a huge advantage. And to listen to what, is going on at center, we're all, all of us in these meetings are listening to all that intel that we can bring to our matches and to our stuff. So it's really is incredible to do it. This is my 39th Wimbledon. I started in '84 here as a junior player, and then as a men's player in singles, doubles, and mixed, and then as an announcer and legend. I played Legends, and I'm an alternate for the Legends this year. So it really is unbelievable.
How do they do that Legends tournament? Is that I'm interested? Do you actually have to qualify? I mean, do they care how good you are, or is it just your personality? How do you get into that?
It would be pretty cool if they had like qualifying and everything, because you would really
see. Actually still be able to play, right?
Yeah, no, it would be unbelievable. You'd see guys in shape like going for it. And so it's a really good paycheck, and it's not as good, obviously, as the main draw or anything, but still a good paycheck for dinosaurs like us. But so they'll send out invitationals. So it will be men's doubles, and then you'll have mixed, and they may pair you up, but you are actually invited. So in the years past, when we were just off the tour, Murphy and I got invited a ton. And then once you get 60, you're out. Now, this is labor. This is the greatest of all time. Once you get 60, you're not invited anymore. They go for the younger guys, but only the Mansour Barami, only the great magician Mansour Barami has been allowed to come back, because he is the greatest show on earth as far as tennis, and the fans want him. Yeah. And so it's an XO, but you're playing for money, and it's kind of serious. But it's funny because in these old guy stuff, everybody, you say, listen, I've got a bad knee and I can't run for a drop shot. Okay, we won't hit you drop shots, or I won't go back for a lot. You don't want to embarrass anybody, but everybody knows everybody's like, injuries and stuff like that. And everybody gets injured. You're not used to playing 2 out of 3 sets, 3 days in a row or 4 days in a row. And so it's a lot of fun to see your mates again. But Wimbledon invites you. And then because we're here for media, you'll say, hey, I'm here. I'm an old dog. I got a full thing of Advil on me. So if you do need an extra guy, I'm Advilled up and I'm ready to win.
I like that. That's a lot of fun, because it's just, hey, I'm here. I'm always the guy you can call if you need me. And I'm
be available.
ESPN's got plenty of those guys.
Yeah. And some of the guys, they don't want to play. They're too, like Johnny Mack. He covers ESPN. He's got BBC. He's got every tennis. No, he doesn't do Tennis Channel, but he does everything. So he will get on the court from time to time, but I haven't seen him in this draw.
Yeah, in that case, it's just a priority thing. There's just too much to do.
Yeah.
That's good.
Oh yeah, it's good.
He'd clearly win everything because he's Johnny Mac.
Yeah. No, he is Johnny Mac. The only one who trumps him is Roger Federer, who has his own day, and he's invited to the Royal Box by Princess Kate. So it's a cool gig to be. I got this actually out of Roger Federer's locker. He wasn't using it, and it was easy to spot his locker because there's 8 trophies on it. It's like, oh, that's Rogers. Look in. There's some shoes, some rackets. I just needed a sweater today. He's not going to miss it. I'll get it back tomorrow after I dry clean it.
Sure. Dry clean it and then sign it for him.
Yeah, I'll sign it for him. Yeah. Hey, Fed, just to let you know, I owe you one. I'll get you, we'll go out for tea sometime. Yeah, exactly.
That makes me, you think about the 8 trophies, that makes me think of a visit to Serbia I had, where I got to go to the restaurant that Novak owns or something.
Oh, so cool.
Have you been there?
No, I gotta go.
Oh, it's neat. You walk up and there's just this statue of him and the armor, and it's I think dude's like 6'3" or something, but this statue's like 6'8". It just makes you feel small when you walk in. It's got a little sitting area with all the trophies everywhere.
No way. That's where all the trophies are?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, that's a risk. You think about that, right? You got 23 of the big boys and then all the thousands, and I just can't imagine all those what number he is at total titles. But I know like Sampras has a room in his house. And then the best collection of all time, I just saw Andre's, but putting Steffi's 22, I think she has 22. And then Andre's, I think he has 7 or 8. That's pretty impressive. That's a trophy collection.
I got my little one from when I won that chess tournament when I was 9. I got that one.
Hey, that's, what? Dr. Spock right there, baby.
I got a trophy for you.
That's right.
It's less time dusting. But yeah, the Serbia trip, it's worth it to see that room. And that was, when was that? 2017. So there's got to be a few more in it. I don't know what he's done.
So is it the same place that his parents owned, or is this his own place?
No, this is his place.
Wow.
His place. So the story, if I remember right, is they sold their restaurant to fund playing tennis, right? Or that they got out of the business?
That could be. I don't know that detail, but he's a special dude, and it's unfortunate that he is very polarizing. People come up. He's just not my cup of tea, and but I just think he's in the shadow of titans. It doesn't matter how many he wins, he will never be Federer, and he'll never be Nadal. And you know what? That's okay. And, Serena's got her own, base, but I just respect him so much. He is committed so much to his nutrition, his flexibility, his training. He goes on vacation after winning 23 in France, and he still works out. That's just his jam, man. He just knows he's got to keep the body limber and got to keep it going. He doesn't have to be playing tennis every day, but he definitely needs to be working out every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's from a Novak point of view, that was going to be the thing that I thought about, which is, okay, is he the greatest of all time? Everybody has that conversation, and that's a fun thing going on right now because the numbers say it's Novak, but it isn't just numbers. It's also that love, that appreciation. And he's, like you said, he is a little polarizing because he's made a few mistakes and he's upset some people and hit people with tennis balls. And, things happened in his career that he never had that almost crisp, clean career that Rafa and Roger were really able to pull off.
He had to fight. Remember, he didn't win his first major until he was 21. And then there was like a huge upswing. He had to sort through some things physically. He had trouble. He had default matches and things like that because of his breathing.
Early, yeah.
Yeah. And that he was the first guy that I remember, and I'd never heard this word before, but the gluten deal. I was like, gluten? What is gluten? And he was the first guy that I had ever heard before Brady and all these guys.
Mhm.
And that he locked in on all that nutritional, that science, that blood work and things. But I just think you got the popular vote, and that's always going to be Roger, followed by Rafa. And that's great to be the popular vote. But the reality is you get the GOAT by the Electoral College. That's like winning the numbers. That's just how you win across the board on all the majors. And then you start digging deep into head-to-head matchups. And he will break outside of, he's got a chance at the Australian, to be perfectly honest. He's got, I think, 10 there. He's got a chance to break Rafa's 14 at one major. It's an outside shot, but
that would answer that question.
Yeah, but he left a lot on the table in the sense where he's missed 2 U.S. Opens because of COVID. He wouldn't take the vaccine. And he was funny. He's kind of proven right, which is kind of interesting because, it's such hype around that. And, a lot of us had to do, I had to do it if I wanted to work for ESPN.
Oh, yeah.
But he didn't. He stood by his, his principles and everything. And then he hit that one year in 20 when he hit the linesperson at the U.S. Open in the throat. He was undefeated that season. He was going to win that year. So that's 3. Mm-hmm. Australia last year where he kind of that COVID thing. So that's 4. He's going to win at least 2 of those.
Yeah.
So that puts him at 25. The dude's a beast. Wawrinka has already said, I'm not beating the guy. Wawrinka just said, listen, I'm not. This is Stan Wawrinka, who's won 3 major titles, one of the best backhands, if not the best backhand in the history of the game, who can hit through players. He's saying, listen, I want to be competitive, but I'm not winning here. I'm not winning. I'm not beating the guy. That's insane. You look at the head-to-head, it's 26 Novak. So, I understand, but to come out and just say it, is it a disguise? Is it a false flag deal where you're just like, yeah, I'll get in his head that I'm not even going to try, and then go red line and go for winners?
Well, you just admitted it at some point, but as a tennis coach, as a coaching type, as I am, and you can understand this as well, where you want your player to really believe. You have to actually believe that this is going to be the greatest upset of all time, if that's what you think it needs to be. But I think what Stan's pointing out is, I'm going to have to hope he breaks his ankle. Because I
think it's reverse psychology, to be honest. Stan Wawrinka knows if he plays his best tennis, he can beat anybody. So why go out and say, yeah, I've got a shot to win. If you saw The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, he manufactured reasons to get mad at opponents, to get motivated. The last thing Novak needs is a guy like Stan going, you know what, I could take a shot at it. Yeah, I feel pretty good and pretty confident. I think he's going reverse psychology, saying that I have no shot. I don't even know if I'll even walk on the court. I'll probably get his autograph, ask him for his jersey, just suck up to that guy, sneak out the first set. By the time Novak kind of figures it out with his head, maybe a break in the second, get up 2 sets to love, and then it's a chance. You're telling me there's a chance. I got a shot.
There's a chance.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
no, I don't think so. No chance.
No chance.
I'm with Wawrinka on this one, because I've met Serbians, and then obviously not all Serbians. You have to point that out, right? I've met Serbians. These guys are strictly brutal. They do not care if you know you're going to lose, if you think you're going to win. They don't care. You're going down.
Yeah.
It's Yvonne Lendl. It's the Yvonne Lendl type. I don't care if I have to hit you in the face with a tennis ball to win this match, because you're better than. Give me your face. Come here.
It's just business. It's just business. Nothing personal. Give me your face, and I'm going to wipe it off the planet.
This is $1 million, and if I can't do it with the racket, I'm going to do it some other way.
That's right. I love it.
All right. So I know you got a lot of research to do, but I really appreciate the time. Do you have, and you're a little more keyed in maybe on the women's side because you have some of that access, but do you have picks? Do you have picks for this year? Can I ask?
I'll tell you.
What you think? It's hard to pick against favorites.
Yeah, it's to me Djokovic and the rest of the field. It's really, do you pick Djokovic or the field? Alcaraz if you watch the movie Maverick, and early on in that movie, he crashes his test plane or something like that, and the admiral is telling him that, you know, your kind is done. We're going to drones, unmanned aircraft. And he goes to the admiral, "You're probably right, but not today, not now." And it was at the French Open in the semis, and it was like one of the matches everybody on the planet who follows tennis had to watch. Is Alcaraz ready to take that step? Is he going to beat, you know, there's no Nadal. Can he beat Djokovic? And Djokovic was like Maverick, like, you are the future. You're right, but not today. Not yet. Not yet. And I just listen, you got to admire Alcaraz. The dude loves the sport. He loves the train, plays with a smile on his face. This guy's incredible. But he won Queens. Really good effort. Anytime you win Queens, it's a sign of the future that you're going to win and you're ready for a grass court run at Wimbledon. He looked great in his opening round. The guy's a beast, but not yet. It's Djokovic plus the field. I'm taking Djokovic. It's like, how do you bet against Tom Brady in the Super Bowl? I'm sorry, one game? You know, I don't think so. So I'm going with Djokovic there. I'm not even going to risk it. And then on the women's side, it's interesting. Freitag is looking good on grass. She won the juniors here, and you'd think she'd be better on grass, but she's got that severe Western forehand grip. But the thing that concerns me, she relies so much on her speed and her coverage, and that means you got to feel comfortable on the grass. And the grass is tricky because the first week it's lush and it's green and it can get slippery. And we've seen players slipping. Serena slipped, Venus slipped the other day, and it happens on the surface the first week. The second week, it's almost like a dirt track. Good firm bounces, good firm footing. And you got those little spikes, those little nubs on the bottom of your shoes, the grass court shoe. And so you're going to get extra traction. If she can get to that second week, you look out. But Sabalenka is a big power player that has no problem playing the Poland Garros in Swiatek. And the defending champion, Rabikina, she won today. And I like her poise. We lost to her last year, first round, Coco Vanderway. We had opportunities, but she was a cool customer that can hit big on both wings and serve big, first and second serve. I just have a feeling it's Sabalenka's tournament. I don't know why, but she lost in the semis of the French, and I just think she's matured where the serve's not going to be a problem on that second, where she has double fault issues, but she has a big smile on her face. She wasn't allowed to play last year. Remember that the Russians and the Belarusians were not allowed to play. And all the Russians and the Belarusians that have played so far and had interviews have been very gracious in the way the crowd has embraced them.
Good.
And I thought it was a weird take because it was nothing personal against those players. It was just this weird global event that happened that they were caught in like the wake of this tragic global war, this conflict that turned into a global situation of whose side you're on. And they just got caught up in it. The fans they love Medvedev. They love Sabalenka. And, but they came out and said, hey, I really wasn't sure how I was going to be received out here. And when the crowd, right from the start, they walked on the court, you're a champion. We love the way you play. And they smiled and they're relaxed. Sabalenka, she's really good. And when she gets on a roll with that serve and the plus ones and stuff, she's a rough customer.
Well, the Russians are allowed to play as long as they were born in Kazakhstan, right?
Oh, well, that was last year. That's true. And that Kazakhstan sponsored a lot of those guys, so they all that oil money up there in that country. Said, Russia's not going to give you money. We will just wear our flag and represent us and things like that. So talk about ironic how they block all the Russians and Belarusians, and a girl who lives in Russia played and all that stuff ends up winning it. It's just weird karma, huh? Weird karma.
Yeah. It's like Sharapova's from Florida, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Well, next time we do this, I want to talk about that full Western grip, because as you're mentioning,
Yeah.
that being a weakness on grass, which I would expect it to be, except I'm going to say Fritz last year and Berrettini the year before. I mean, we've got some players out there, even who's the big Russian guy? I call him Karen Miksafanov.
Is it Rublev?
I'm thinking Hachinov.
Or Hachinov. Okay, he's another big guy. Yeah.
So we got these guys that are 6'5", 6'6", that have that full Western grip that somehow can play on grass. And they never have to hit a volley. You know, you watch some of these guys come forward and they look like me at the net. It's just not good.
Yeah.
But we'll have to dive deep into that next time.
We'll get into the technique for sure. I mean, remember the first week of this term it's the only surface that is a living, breathing thing. So it changes from day to day. The conditions have a lot to do with how it plays. If it's a little rainy, overcast, dewy, I mean, it just changes. And then that second week, when that grass kind of gets worn out, especially on the baseline, and the grass is firm, the ball sets up. You just got to fight through that first week, and then it's game on. And that's why I think Swiatek, she can just somehow get to that second week, round of 16 quarters, it'll be a different player, and then she can move better and things. Tiafoe has a weird, funky forehand, but real quick, but he's short backswing. If you have a short backswing with that, you can get away with it early on. But Taylor Fritz lost today, and he was up 2-0, and he lost to Emer from Sweden. And that's a devastating blow. He got to the quarters last year, should have beaten Nadal. And this was supposed to be maybe a run for this tournament. So it's a setback for the American side here. Yeah,
and Tiafoe's still in. I didn't see who.
Yep. Tiafoe won today. Ben Shelton lost today. Tommy Stockholm Paul, he won today. God, I'm going down. There's so many Americans. It's great. Yeah. And you just go down that list.
Sebastian Korda.
He lost the other day. I'm almost sure he lost the other day.
I like that kid. I keep telling my son, you got to be 6'4", lefty with a two-handed backhand.
Yeah.
But if you look at the Korda, you look at these guys, they're 6'5", Tiafoe aside, Tiafoe being that extra case, but they're 6'5", they got that big serve, they can serve into the second week and then wait for the Western forehand to be able to play on the clay courts of Wimbledon in the second week, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't go as far as clay, but the thing is, you want footing and you need time and you need a bounce. And that's why Borg won 5 straight finals in his 6th, just because he got through that first week, was able to just figure it out. And then the ball started coming up to him, and that Western grip of his, which wasn't really a true Western. It was more like a Roger Federer kind of hybrid, probably Eastern, semi-Western. Semi, yeah. So, it's Danielle Collins lost today. Alicia Parks, Atlanta kid. She lost today. I thought she won the first set and lost, but we just got Kenin won today, and she has a matchup with Svitolina, who was coming through the draw after having a child in October. So a lot of good storylines for us, huh? Really good.
Yeah, and I don't usually pick the Americans on the clay or the grass, but good to see.
Well, they're coming. So just for the I don't know if you can see this, strawberries, Wimbledon strawberries.
Oh, nice.
It's good. Yeah, there you go. So ready to go to town on those things.
Enjoy it. I appreciate it. I'll see if I can get in touch with you next week. We'll try to do it again.
Whatever you need.